Hey there, my fine-looking friend. If we have not met yet, I am Logan from Music for Makers, a royalty-free music subscription service. And you know, when it comes to background music, the question most people have, especially starting out, is how do I pick the right music? So that's a really good question. And there's a lot of different ways you could approach answering it. There's a lot of different factors to consider. But today I want to actually think about it like a filmmaker, because filmmakers are very skilled at making their audience feel something, at making their audience feel a specific emotion. And this is important because emotion is what drives human behavior. There are countless studies that confirm that we initially make decisions based on emotion and then only later rationalize them with logic. Making your audience feel something is especially important if you're making a video for business. Because after all, the whole purpose of a business video is to convince the viewer to take some action, whether that's buy a product or click over to the website to learn more. But generally you want the viewer to do something, and the best way to do that is to use emotion, to compel them to act. So back in 1940, an accomplished American composer named Aaron Copland suggested that there are 5 ways that you can use music in film. So the first way that Mr. Copland suggests is to present a convincing portrayal of time and space. And basically what this means is you use certain music from a period of time or maybe a geographic location. By doing this, you'll help suspend disbelief. You'll take the viewer to that place in that time, and you'll be able to suck them in even more and engage them even more with that video content. Think about the kind of music you would hear in a Western compared to what you might hear in a horror flick. There's definitely a specific kind of sound that goes along with like the saloons and the desert and the tumbleweed blowing in the wind and everything. So that's definitely a different sound that kind of takes you to that space. Whereas like the horror stuff, you have the like the killer is coming. So another way you can use music in your projects is to represent the unspoken thoughts and feelings of your characters, or to represent unseen implications of a certain situation. So for example, in Star Wars, you have the Darth Vader Death March soundtrack that plays whenever you see Darth Vader, and that is a hint that there's this ominous thing happening. This is the bad guy, basically, is what that's telling you. So you can use that, regardless of what kind of videos you're making, to communicate things without words to your viewers. And this goes back to emotion. So a playful little riff is going to imply lighthearted happiness, those kind of feelings, whereas maybe high strings or battle drums or something like that would imply that it's a little more tense, or maybe even there's a dark situation happening. The third way you can use music is how I think most people, especially online, use music in their videos, and that's to simply fill in the background. So that's what I do a lot with my videos, as I'm doing in this one. And basically the trick is to find something that's relatively neutral. So you don't want it to be too distracting, especially if you're doing something like I'm doing right now, where I'm talking to the camera. If you're vlogging, or if there's a voiceover or something like that in a marketing video or in an explainer video, you don't want it to be so busy or distracting that it takes away from the actual message. So most of the songs that I create for Music for Makers are relatively simple, and they follow kind of a consistent arrangement or melody, and there's not a whole lot of variation because you don't want it to detract from the actual message that you're trying to convey. So number 4, you can use music to create a sense of continuity. And what that means is you're stringing together several seemingly unrelated scenes with a single piece of music. So the most cheesy example of this is just a traditional montage, like in Rocky, where Rocky's training for the big fight, and it cuts between different scenes of him doing these different workouts and getting ready. But really, this is one of the most commonly used tricks in a lot of marketing videos and commercials. Typically, you'll see a lot of different scenes, and there's just one piece of music that's tying it all together. And finally, number 5, you can use music to build and ultimately end a scene on a very epic scale. And so it's kind of fitting that this is the final point. And Copland actually said that he's never heard or seen a film that ended in silence. And I really think Copland was onto something with this grand finale idea, because if you think about it, in every movie, that part, that epic ending scene, when there's all these emotions, there's a lot of anxiety and buildup, that is when you're feeling a lot, right? You're feeling a lot of suspense, or maybe you're feeling a lot of relief because you know, the climax is a positive one and everything works out in the end for the good guy, you know? The guy saves the girl kind of thing. Regardless of the situation, that's usually where emotions are very high. And again, it's the emotion that's going to persuade someone to take an action. So as a quick recap, you can use music in your videos to 1. Present a convincing portrayal of time and space. 2. To represent the unspoken thoughts or feelings of your characters or the unseen implications of a certain situation. 3. To simply fill the background. 4. To create a sense of continuity, especially in montages. And 5. To close out a scene in epic, grand finale style. So what did you think of this video? Whether you found it helpful or boring, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. And if there's anything specific that you would like me to cover in the future, definitely let me know that too, as it'll help me make better videos. If you did enjoy these tips, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Until next time, see ya.